let's do it.
So welcome to Garage Talks, and today we're visited in the Discord channel by Curtis Phil, who's the owner of Ramshackle Games and now the green one, and we're going to get back into that. So Ramshackle Games has been putting out models as far back as I can remember being in the skirmish scene. But Curtis, how did you get into the hobby? Uh, when did you start playing with miniatures?
I've always been into like buying toy planes from the local toy shop and sticking them together and painting them, and other like military sort of models. And I think when my brother was 9, so when I was about 8, I bought for his birthday the old Citadel Goblin Wolf Riders, and I got given a skeleton. And it was just on from there. I think like a few months later, they brought out the Skeleton Horde plastic set. I was all over that with my pocket money, and just went from there really. Just always really been into, fantasy and sci-fi, like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, growing. So yeah, it's always been like I've really been into the hobby. I'm from like a place called Cornwall, like just it's the countryside. It's like right out in the middle of nowhere. This little town, Liscar, and there's just not really much to do there, and it rains all. So yeah, I just got into model making, and I never had any pocket money, so well, not very much. It's like just trying to build my own things, do loads of conversions, and yeah,
So you
went
started
from there.
you started with Games Workshop like so many of us then.
Yeah. I used to play like a lot of that Warhammer, Realm of Chaos.
Yes, okay.
Build, it was kind of like the skirmish game before Necromunda. So you build like a little gang and stuff. Yeah, really easy model making projects. And built up like a massive chaos army just from building like weird little conversions and stuff. Chopping the heads off things, buying toys and chopping them up, and painting them. Yeah, so yeah, did that.
Uh,
Then yeah, then like I went off to university. I did animation at university, and came out of uni and went and got a job with Aardman Animations, doing like I worked on the film Chicken Run. So, I mean, I started as a model maker there and did a little bit of the sort of animation on it as well. I'm like a assistant animator.
so on Chicken Run, that's that
Yeah,
same style as what's it called, Gromit?
yeah, Wallace and
Yeah,
Gromit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Aardman Animations. Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and really, I spent 3 years there, and it's like really great sort of model making. You got like you're working with plasticine. You've got to lick that plastic, get it smooth. There was a lot of licking plasticine, I tell you. But
So
yeah, after that, I went and got a job making video games in Nottingham, and I was there for about 3 years, and I started doing Viking reenact. And one day, got hit in the eye with a sword. Yeah, um, yeah. So I had like quite a lot of like time off for that. And it's a bit of a cliche to say, but like, say that again.
oh no, we didn't say anything. Uh,
Oh, sorry.
Klaus
Yeah.
joined the channel and there was
Uh,
some
Hi.
static.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I got hit in the eye with a sword, and it's a bit of a cliche to say, but I kind of like looked at my life, through clear eyes after losing an eye, and going like, animation's cool and everything, but it's a bit of a grind. You're working for somebody else. It's like I can be creative in the job, but I can't like, So it's just like, I can be as creative as I want, but I'm basically animating a guy gets up from the ground from different positions over and over again. That's what a video game animation is. So I was like, enough of this. I'm going to go and make chess pieces, chess set. So I set all that up, and then didn't sell any chess sets. And my friend was coming in and making like a post-apocalyptic vehicles. He made we got one on the website called the Badger. He made that, and we just sold quite a few of them. So started out selling them really cheaply and just, trying to sort of get some publicity and things. And yeah, that was it. Ramshackle Games was launched.
So Did
and
you
we've been
actually
going since
ha-
2006.
have you actually do you only have one eye?
I do only have, well, I mean, I've got two eyes, but the optic nerve's damaged, so I'm blind in my right eye, which has its advantages, surprisingly enough.
Well,
Yeah, like if you're trying to sleep, right, and it's sunny, yeah, you just turn your good eye down to the pillow, and it's like it's nighttime.
yeah, right.
Strange as it sounds.
All right. So, happy accident, and you end up in Ramshackle Games from some other guy making a model because you couldn't sell any chess sets. Was that
Yeah,
that?
well, I mean, because I made something as well. I would like we worked on a kind of a little project, and then those sold. You see what I mean? But yeah.
So, so okay, so you got into it kind of by accident. Was that when you started sculpting? I mean, you were in wargaming from you were a kid, but wasn't it until you studied animation and you started doing sculpting there
No, no,
in the
no.
bigger
I've
scale?
always I used to when I was really little. I damaged one of my toys and got in a lot of trouble off my dad from it. So then I started doing this thing where I get my Star Wars toys, stick plasticine on their faces and like sculpt new faces for them. But I used to go and hide under my bed to do that because I thought I'd get in trouble for it, like defacing my toys. And I think maybe that is like, yeah, I mean, that's the first sort of sculpting that I really remember doing, like conversion. And I've just always really been, whenever I get a model, I'm like, yeah, I want a different sword on him, or well, I don't know. Just start chopping bits up, and then you've got to kind of sculpt in the detail, and you've got a cool weapon and you've got a cool arm, but you haven't got a cool hand to put the weapon in. So you've got to do the fingers, which is always like really hard, but you just do them again and again and again. Go and copy some of Leonardo da Vinci's pictures of hands. Draw them out, draw them out, draw them out, and then go back again, and yeah, you can sculpt a hand. You just like gotta keep going at it, and I've always just been really into doing it. I come home from work and stuff. I mean, like when I took the sword injury, I'd actually taken it was on a week off from work, and I'd taken the week off to like sculpt some models. So yeah, I used to take time off work to sculpt.
So you have a lot of stuff in your shop, and most of it is sci-fi and post-apocalypse. And
Yeah,
but you started with fantasy gaming. So
yeah.
so when did you transition, or what kind of gaming or literature or other kind of fiction made you go in that direction? Or is it you
I
know?
like playing like Ash Waste sort of Necromunda stuff. And
All right, yeah.
I've always watched the like Mad Max quite a young age, and like films like that. And I think one of my pivotal moments of thinking that I could get a career in art was about 15, sticking on Fist of the North Star, which is, I don't know if you know it, but it's like a Japanese animation series that's in like a crazy post-apocalyptic wasteland with all these guys who like inexplicably change size, and yeah, it's good. And I just saw that, and I'm like, wow, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And just yeah, it's not really that I don't know. I mean, there's no real reason why post-apocalyptic are not fantasy. I love playing fantasy. I've got like my orc army. It's not up on the shop at the moment. We've had a bit of a. I mean, I wouldn't mind going into the details of why everything's not up on the shop, if that's all right.
You can go into whatever you like. I
Okay, cool, cool. Right. Well, I don't know if you know the postage prices in the US changed. I
yeah,
think
yeah, I read
that
something about that. So
yeah,
you
I
had to
think
change the policy, which was super
yeah.
awesome, with free worldwide shipping when you bought even a tiny little figure. You must have taken a lot of loss running.
Well, uh, yeah, not really. I mean, most people buy because what I was doing, obviously, I had to price everything based on being able to put it in the post. But if somebody would buy one model, then yeah, it would have cost me like £3. But you think about like that's like £3 for some targeted marketing that the person's going to get it and either want to buy more or be like, this isn't the thing for me. So I was always really happy to do that, and that didn't happen very often. It was like maybe once a month you'd lose money on order. So, just sort of part of the running of the company. But, I had to change because the America put up their postage prices by like 50%. So I just couldn't do free postage anymore. So what I've had to do is take all of the products off the store, and then I have to go through and update the weight. So I have to weigh it in the packet, and then I can kind of relaunch that item. But, we've got like 400 items or something, 420 items. So it's like just trying to find the time to do it. But it is a big slog. So yeah, not all of the ranges are up on the store. One of them that I'm going to be launching again probably over the next couple of weeks is the Fantasy Orc range. And I've got my Orc army is, I think it's 113 Orc archers, 6 of the bolt throwers, and just some other stuff like my Dunga riders as boar boys.
Yeah, get it all back up
like
there.
Wizards and stuff. Yeah, depending on kind of like what I want to do for the support of the army, and a couple of giants. So yeah, it's a really good fun army that you can play in like every version of Warhammer. And yeah, that's probably about like a 50-50 win-loss ratio. Because it's just a weird way to play, like Orc Archers. They're okay in Warhammer. And then and then they can just take it because they're tough orcs. So they're kind of a shooty army, but yeah, it's weird. It's good fun. So yeah, I'm not against fantasy. I just, got range, got to expand the range.
And so,
sci-fi.
And so amidst of taking down your entire web shop and uploading every single item again because you have to weigh it and put it into a system, you decide to, and it came out of the blue for me, add that the green one bit with the orcs and the tank bits. So what's the story there? The miniatures are awesome, and the conversion kits are cool.
Much.
But it's not your stuff, right? Or originally.
Okay. No. The company, the green one, has been running for a few years, but the guys who were doing it, it was like their second. It was just the kind of hobby stuff they were doing. I think they started in that what's it called, Tempest Fugitive, and they were doing all the kind of like kits and conversion packs for this kind of community in Britain that were like really getting into Warhammer, and they were the guys who developed all the background for the like Horus Heresy game.
Okay.
And a lot of the tank. And then kind of they stopped doing it when kind of Games Workshop were like, right, we're going to take all this stuff that you've been doing and just commercialize. And so, the guys who were doing it kind of, the sort of group broke up a little bit after that. And then 2 of the guys got into making, a bunch of like cool orky bits. And then I don't know what happened, but they had some sort of falling out and parted slightly acrimoniously. But the guy who ended up with all of the molds and the equipment, he can't produce it because he's got like a really stressful sort of full-time job. And one of the things he wants to do is he's developing a bit of software called Plastic Crack, which is a community hub for people who are into wargaming, people who are into making models. And the idea is to try and have like a support group who can actually produce models. So, if you want to sculpt something up and get it made, you can come to us and get it made. You can, find artists to illustrate your board game. And I'm supporting him in that. And in exchange, he gave me all of the masters for the green one range, and also all of the pressure casting kits. So it's like a compressor, like a beefy sort of compressor, and 2 like steel pots that you kind of screw the lid on. You pressurize it, so you pour the resin into the mold, stick it in this pressure pot, and it kind of squashes all the bubbles out. That's the process. So he gave us all that, and in exchange for basically we've got to do a bunch of work from him and kind of be on the ready to sort of accept commissions through this kind of project that he's launching.
Yeah, so if somebody
So
has a miniature sculpted up till it getting cast and
yeah,
mass
yeah,
produced,
yeah.
or all right.
And I mean, we are going to be doing that. So if anybody's got any models they want casting, we're doing like £2 a figure, including all the mold making.
And are you still going to be running your send me a model, let me cast it and sell it on the shop, and I'll give you free copies kind of gig?
Yeah, yeah. Because see, I'm running Ramshackle Games, and then this new venture is called Soul Forge, Soul Forge Casting. The idea is to make it kind of independent from Ramshackle Games, so that uh, Ramshackle Games is just me. Soul Forge is myself and another guy. This guy called Rodent Mastermind. He's an amazing painter, an amazing model maker, and he's always really wanted to get into casting and mold making. So me and him have like teamed up. He's doing all the casting. I'm basically teaching him how to do the mold making, and between us, we're figuring out how to get the best quality casts we can using the process.
And are the models green? Is it green colored resin, or is it just for
Oh,
showing on the
oh
website?
no, it is green resin. We dye the resin, but
That's fun.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean, you can have any coloured resin. If you hire us, we'll do the resin any colour you like. It's just the green one range is going into is in green. So like a bit of a
it's a fun gimmick.
fun, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. The
So,
orcs.
so amidst all this working, and you mentioned you're working pretty much all the time, and you enjoy working. Do you get time to play any games yourself? Are you part of a club?
I mean, the new place that we've moved into, the place that I'm recording now, because I mean, we've hired like a room to put all of the casting equipment, and it's in a building that is kind of like I mean, the guy who's just set it up, he got it all ready, and then COVID. The idea is that it's a gaming room, and Gary's the guy who runs like the local gaming club and has been for many years. So yeah, I mean, there's gaming here like it's every night, isn't it, Scott? Yeah, different ones every night. So I usually stay for the Gaslands on a Monday. I've been playing quite a lot of Gaslands stuff. Again, post-apocalyptic.
Oh, it's a good game.
But yeah, I
It's
mean, I'm
easy
always
to
up
get
for a
into.
game. Yeah, it is easy to get into and super fun and just like so easy to kind of a lot of people who really weren't into gaming, model gaming, just get the vehicles out and the rules are really easy too. But yeah. So play that. I mean, I was hoping to go to some conventions this year as well and play some games, but
Yeah, COVID fucked that one up.
yeah, certainly
So,
did.
so how old is Ramshackle Games? I mean, Chicken Run, that's like a 20-year-old movie, and it came out
2006, I set up
2006.
Ramshackle
Okay,
Games.
all right.
Yeah,
Um, so
14.
ho-
Oh,
that
hang on. Just before we move away from COVID,
yeah,
I'm giving away models. I'm giving away a set of 4 models. If you go on my Facebook page, Ramshackle Games Facebook, you can see the 4 models that I'm giving away for free.
yeah,
I'm asking basically postage a pack in, so if anybody wants them,
we've been
then
sharing these, and
message me.
I'll put a link in the
Okay, cool,
description of this one. But I've been sharing that here in the Discord as well
brilliant.
when you put up. And thanks for that. Thanks for making a miniature for
Uh,
our convention that got COVID cancelled as well.
ah, did it? Oh
Yeah,
no.
it sucks.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
the numbers are going the wrong way in Denmark, and they kept
Yeah.
putting more and more restrictions on it, and we could basically go through with the convention, but it would have lost its soul because we couldn't do demo games. There could only be 2 guys at each table, and the distance and the face masks and what we wanted to
Yeah.
do at the core, we couldn't do anymore. So we chose to not cancel it, but we're trying again in May instead,
Okay,
hoping
cool.
everything is better. And we have all
Yeah, so
the
the models for you guys, I just basically they were a conversion of like a one that I did last year.
Yeah, actually, I
They were
have two different. I thought already have 2 different versions of that guy. I've painted one up
yeah.
with a mask and a hood, and then I have another guy who he has like a mohawk uh, instead. It looks like the same guy. And
Hmm.
then this
Anyway,
third version. Yeah.
I was just like, like everybody's down about all this sort of thing. I was pretty down about it, so I'm like, I might as well put the models out there. I wish I could put them in the post for free. And if any, like, I have done that. If anybody's like really wants the models and is really feeling down about gaming, just needs a bit of like lightness, just write to me. I'll just send you the models. I did that to one customer. It's just like, I've lost my job because of COVID and I really want the models. Can you send us a couple for me and my son so I can save a bit on postage? And I'm just like, I'll just send them to you, man.
And you
So
seem to be doing
I
this a
really am.
lot, and thanks for that.
I love the hobby, and it's so easy to just get down about not being able to game. So we got to pull together, and we'll be able to get through this.
Absolutely, but there's also, a, 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 a business part of it, because it seems like every single time I tag
Yeah,
up
but
your business when somebody is asking in a Gaslands community, where can I get some bits? And it's like, well, go to Ramshackle Games. And it seems like every single time you respond to one of those posts as well, you put in, it's almost like a disclaimer. Yeah, and just write me a message and I'll put in some free stuff. And if you can't afford it, and and
I
it's
want to get
super
people
nice,
gaming.
but it's not very,
Yeah,
corporate.
yeah, but like, it's advertising though, isn't it? So ultimately, like if I give models to people for free, they're going to go, wow, this really nice guy gave me models for free, and like I haven't lost any money on like giving these models out. I was doing the calculations. It cost me probably about like 30p for each one that I send out on top of postage and the pack. But then I've had a few orders from it, and so people have bought a few things from the website. So I've made a profit on something that I'm just trying to do to make everybody feel a bit happy.
Oh, it's
So
super awesome.
again, like if we all pull together, we get through it. That's how it works, isn't it? How culture should work.
Do you see that culture in our hobby, in general, from uh,
Yeah,
other
I mean,
clubs?
yeah, because you do like if you go on eBay and you end up looking at like the scalpers. I mean, I'm into the old hammer movement, like old model collectors items thing. So I just find it pretty interesting. And if you go on eBay and you're trying to get like some old model, you get scalped for it. There's people go on there because they want to make some money because they know these models are worth it. But then if you go and start talking to people, Facebook or social media, they'll give you stuff. They'll try and get you what you're after at a price that just isn't stupid. And if we all do that, then all these old models that people have got in their lead pile that they're never going to paint, they'll sell it to you for £3. Fine, no problem. And I do find that a lot. I think I did a project one time where I lived out of the country for a couple of years and I came back and I didn't have any of my model making stuff. So I just asked all my friends locally who were into gaming, like, have you got any old models that you don't want? And they gave me a few bits from it. I think I got some, like a few Lord of the Rings bits and bobs, and a couple of old elves, and just, just went crazy with it. I just had real good fun and made this really crazy Zinch warband out of stuff that people had just given me.
I've seen that happen a lot of time on.
War game is good, yeah.
That's one of the cool things about these Facebook groups, because it's so fast, and I spend a lot of time in the Danish trade group, and
Yeah.
the auctions there. I mean, Facebook is not perfect for running auctions, but generally in the Danish scenes, a lot of the auctions they start at a proper bid, and all this old hammer and old lead. I mean, some of it goes for crazy prices, but it's never starting at a scalping price. It starts as like a fair deal, and then people pay what they're
Yeah.
gonna pay. But there's also a lot
Yeah.
of posts about, and I've gotten some for myself when my kids started playing. I've cleaned my collection. I've sold off or given away all the stuff that I don't have plans for. Does somebody have something they're willing to donate? And there's always people sending,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah, I
bag of
agree. I agree.
random stuff for that. Same goes for schools and clubs, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a hobby that's easy to get into, and you can do it really cheap as well. You know, that's something that's always been a bit of a philosophy of mine. Just do it as cheap as you can. Like, you know, something that I've been dreaming. I did last year. I put together a bunch of, well, maybe it was earlier this year. I put together a bunch of tree models for some background, you know, kind of scenery stuff. And it just got me thinking about, I'd love to do a wood elf army, um, just made out of twigs. You know, like actual twigs and stones and moss and
I
bracken.
started that exact project just before 8th edition Warhammer died. I started a
Okay.
Dryad army on that basis. Bit of green stuff,
Yeah,
sticks and
yeah,
twigs. Then 8th
yeah,
edition died,
yeah.
and I lost the mojo.
Well, yeah. I mean, I only basically play third edition or sixth edition. I think are the two I end up gaming.
Yeah, I've
I
moved
quite like. I
I've
like.
moved I've moved completely into the skirmish scene. So all right, so maybe this is the wrong question for a guy like you, but oh, you are playing Gaslank, so that's new. But your shop's been around for 16 years, 14 years. Um, how do you think the scene has developed over this time since you lost Ramshackle Games? A lot of your miniatures are great for proxying in 40k, um, or put them into a wasteland necromunda, whatever. But how does you think that the theme, the scene, and the games have changed over the last 14 years,
Yeah,
hobby
I mean,
wise? Or are
uh,
you into any of the new stuff? I mean, if you're playing third edition Warhammer and
yeah,
second
yeah, no,
edition
like,
40k,
yeah. I mean, I like, Games Workshop. You know, I mean, I don't buy Games Workshop products. So I don't have any time to be working on stuff that's kind of like not my own. You know, and I do feel a little bit guilty as well when you're like, you know, you've got to keep your family off what you can kind of make and sell. I feel guilty when I'm sort of in a Games Workshop one. So I don't really buy them, but I'm always in awe of them. They're amazing sculpts, you know, amazing models. I mean, there's some stinkers, but like generally, it's really high quality engineering. You know, I love doing kit bashes, getting models, and you can just kind of jam stuff together, and the range is always expanding. You can just really kind of be very expressive of what you're doing. Um, and so kind of like I mean, that's one thing that's changed is the quality of plastic kits. I mean, even like, you know, there's quite a lot of like third party smaller
yeah,
companies making the plastic kits. And
yeah,
yeah, so the
that's amazing for a guy like me. I mean,
yeah,
North Star and Osprey deciding to bring out War Games Atlantic, bring out plastic frames that are cheap. I
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
time to be alive.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and like, you know, I mean, that's something that you can always get, like, something that works for what you want to do, whether it's Pirates of the Crimson Coast or, you know, an army of tanks or, you know, like like you're saying, a dryad. I mean, there's a lot of encouragement for that. But to get back to the question of like development, yeah, I mean, I guess in 2006 you had Power Games, didn't you? And they were people who kind of took the fun out of the game by trying to exploit the rule. And then most people would just play kind of like, yeah, you know, semi-competitively. So in the last 14 years, you've seen this massive rise of like that ultra competitive tournament style of play, which wasn't so prevalent back in the day. It was much more like there were tournaments, so full on as you know, like I mean, you couldn't earn. I don't know what people earn, like professional gamers. You know, there wasn't that scene, was there? You couldn't be a professional gamer. Whereas now, like the building we're in is what the honest gamer, I think the guy's called. He's the guy who started all the like the esports over at Games Workshop, and now he's sort of doing his own one.
all
And
right.
it's like esports in terms of like watching people play. Uh, yeah, yeah, a Warhammer
Yeah,
kind of
game
mini
on.
tournament that they do through on Twitch. You know, I mean that didn't exist. There wasn't like a spectator
Well,
scene,
that's
which there is now.
Well, that's pretty new, and it's exploded here during the COVID times. I mean, we've
Yeah,
had the
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
Play videos on YouTube for a time, but this I've been dabbling in it myself. It's quite fun, but making any kind of money
Yeah, and
off
the
that,
movement.
that's a crazy plan.
Yeah, but also, like the movement on to like, digital books and things like that. That just is easier. There's more access. You can. I mean, it's not like there wasn't access back in the day. Back when I was like 14 or whatever, and one of us had like a copy of the rule book, and the rest of us just have. But you'd share them around. You'd borrow stuff off people, wouldn't you? Kind of do your army. Whereas now, I guess people can get older stuff much more easily through the internet. That there's just a lot out there, more and more. More games coming out all the time. More models. There's more stuff. It's richer. You know, and then there's more people into the hobby. More people buying. It's more mainstream.
And is that
So,
something you can feel as well? Uh, More people in the hobby, or are you too niche
yeah,
for
yeah. I
that?
mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, I like. I don't think sales have changed massively in 14. I guess every year I make a little bit more than I did the year before, which is good. But you know, I'm certainly not rich yet, so you don't need to get into these sorts of things.
Oh, it's pretty
You
hard
know?
to get rich from doing toy soldiers.
Yeah,
You've made a few games as well. So I have Nuclear Renaissance here, uh, and the first one it says version 2, uh, copyright 2007. So it's
yeah.
an older. What inspired you to write a game yourself?
And it was my friend when we first started. He was like, "Come on, then, let's do a game." Um, and yeah, like it was the time when like 2006, you could get like a decent desktop publishing computer for a reasonable price. Something that you could do an A4 book. That 2000 you couldn't. I remember coming out of like university, it was pretty expensive for a decent computer. Um, but yeah, by 2006, it's not. It's just you can do desktop publishing at home, and then print on demand was like something that was starting off then as well.
Yes.
So it was feasible to just do the book. Yeah, we did one book and made all the kind of like layout errors, so that it came back and it looked rubbish when it was printed. And then we're like, well, if we're going to fix this, we might as well fix kind of the problems in the game, which is why what you've got is version 2.
Yeah.
Which
Then
is,
I
yeah,
have Day of the Tomb of the Triffids. Or what's it called?
Tridlins.
Tridlens.
Time of Tridlins. Yeah, Tridlins are like it's a northern town, like north, sort of Midlands to North England, means like little pieces,
All right.
specifically your insides. So I don't know.
But
Yeah, just instead of the word bits or gubbin, same sort of word.
well,
But yeah, I mean,
I haven't played the game, but I love the books. Well, there's nice books. And my
thanks.
kid has been spending a lot of time looking at them because he's a fan of, your crazy
Oh,
style of models.
well, thank
Because
you.
they're, colorful and I don't know, kind of cartoony, perhaps is the
Yeah,
word.
yeah,
Um,
yes.
so any particular uh, reason to, I mean, how did you find your style of sculpting? Um,
You just do it, don't you? I mean, uh, you like I always like what I make, and I think that's one of the big differences between people who like get good at art and people who don't get good at art. I mean, I look at my two kids, and when they were 3, they were both drawing kids' pictures, and the eldest, he would always be like, "Oh, my picture's not very good," and the youngest would be like, "My picture's really good. Just look at my picture, Daddy." And I look at the two pictures, and 3 years old, they're not very good pictures, you know, but one of them liked his picture and the other one didn't,
mm,
and so the one who likes it just keeps doing more and more and more because they enjoy what they make. And it's the same with me, like I just make the models because I wake up in the morning going, I want to make this model. I'm going to go and do it. It might take a few weeks to actually kind of get it finished, but by the end of it, I'm like happy with what I've produced. It gives me like a sense of achievement. The thing that's amazing is that then other people will, buy enough of these off me that I can kind of live. I mean that's something that I'm really, I feel like very honored that I've got such cool customers that people want the things that I'm making. Um, so yeah,
I think yeah,
like
but that's the thing. People want to do uh will do that. I mean, I thought about the same thing when I said, oh, should I start this blog and what should I put on it? And then a guy said, well, if you take some photos and write some words about stuff you like, other people will read it. Yeah, right. I mean, if you
yeah,
like what you do.
yeah, and you've got to understand, that not everybody's going to like it. That's just the way it is. People like different things.
Yeah,
And I like weird things, like the films that I really enjoy, or like the stories that I really like. It's sometimes difficult to find other people who like them, and you just like, I guess I am a little bit unusual in my taste. So, I mean, Ramshackle Games is an opportunity to just do what I want. I've tried like chasing, the cool new trends and stuff, but um, I don't find that they are particularly satisfying artistically, or particularly fun, or do particularly well. The things that like I sell most of are things that I've just been like, I really want this thing. I'm gonna make it, and sooner or later I'm gonna come something. I'll sell 1 million.
well,
Yeah, but I mean, like that's
I'll
it. You've
cross
got to
my
experiment.
fingers.
You,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you've got to experiment. You've got to like be like, I'm gonna make something different because it
But
might be the thing that
but
everybody gets into.
you're waking up and doing. I want to do this model, and but
Yeah.
so are you not working, or are you ever working from a this is coming out, I'm going to try and hit that market. Like Ash Barker, who has the Guerrilla Miniatures Gaming YouTube stuffing, huge platform, and he's bringing out that robot game in a month, Gamma Wolves,
Yeah.
a bit back,
Yeah.
robot, and it's like it's the and it's a miniature agnostic game. I mean, there's no official miniatures for it, so I never like, okay, Osprey is bringing out a book, there's a market opportunity. They are going to create the hype. They're going to push the book. So I might as well do some work to hit straight into that. I'm gonna make some
Yeah.
more
I mean,
robots because it's
yeah, but there's only so many. There's only so many ideas that you can actually get made. I mean, it's easier to have an idea than it is to actually get it to production. That like, yes, I'd love to do something like that, but then it's, the commitments that I've got to producing the green one, right? You know, the other things that I've got. I mean, do you know Urban Manhunt?
no.
Ah, okay. It's a skirmish-based post-apocalyptic game. I think you have one. You have one dude each, one sort of hunter.
Just check it out here. Spectrum Games, Urban Manhunt, the miniatures game.
Yeah. So I've got a model that I've actually made for them. Just sitting there. The mold's done. The first cast is out, and I need to spend an hour just finishing the painted version of the model. I'm ready to go, and it's been like that for like probably 2 months now, just because they're setting up this new billion little things that you've got to do. We're trying to get one model out every week, which is just a massive push. That's why I'm in on Saturday today. I've got to like get this body uh, second driver for the vehicle. I've got to get
On
his.
the green one, a product
Yeah.
a week. So how many things do you have? I mean, that was like 8 things
Uh,
on the website now, or on Ramshackle Games with the green one.
yeah, I think
How
there's probably about. Sorry,
yeah,
finish the question.
how big is the catalog that you took over?
All right, okay. What I know of, there's a whole bunch of like AA guns, like anti-aircraft guns. There's some like I think some little goblin like sail cart. There's kind of like a fairly big, like I don't know, 20 centimeter tall robot, sort of bulky robot. There's a really big, tall, 45 centimeter robot.
Oh,
There's there's this vehicle that we're doing at the moment that should be out next week. There's something that's the size of like a, I don't know, like a kind of like a truck sort of thing. What else is there? There's some more cannons. There's some seated legs, so like all legs in a seated position. We've just got this massive bag of stuff. And
cool.
one of the things I want to do as well is start adding the all the pieces to the range as well.
Conversion
Yeah, and
pieces.
this is something that like the fallout like that ended kind of the green one. I went onto a group the other day, and I posted, but I kind of read their rules, but I didn't read rule number 6, which was no posts about anything to do with the green one.
Oh, ha!
Yeah, and I'm like,
Oh, so you kicked the hornet's nest.
yeah, I by accident, and then you just ended up talking to the guys from the group, and one of them was one of the ex sort of business partners thing. Basically, the guy who sculpted all the models, essentially, that we're now casting out. But they've been really nice. They've been really nice to me and said, look, we had problems with the guy who the sort of this other party.
But not with you in particular.
Yeah, they got no problem with me. So, it's like, do I just. I mean, the discussion at the moment is, do we just drop the green one name and just fold it into Ramshackle Games and just have it as like sci-fi orc range? Which I think is probably, it's what we're thinking of doing right now. So I think maybe it's just going to be like,
A relaunch.
polyurethane orc pieces as one of the. So I don't know. I don't know. We haven't really made any decisions on it yet. I mean, I quite like the name to Green One. It is very orc. What's the word?
Yeah, it is. It is orc.
Orthodox. This word in English, orthodox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good wordplay.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, it's us trying to like get these cool models out. We're getting them like mostly bubble free, as good as Forge World does it. Yeah. So it's a really cool range made out of really cool resin, and there's loads of these kits. So we're going to be really trying to hit one a week. I've been doing Ramshackle Games in the morning and like in the afternoon. We've got this guy, as I said, like a rodent mastermind. He's on Facebook as that, doing the actual casting and kind of like learning the mold making. So, just need to try and maximize sales. But yeah,
I think it's awesome that one thing is your free quote unquote products that you can bring out, but it's also what's it called? I hate it when models go out of production. It's the worst, and there's been entire lines of miniatures that's just vanished, and it's such awesome work, and it's a shame when some of these. I mean, the best thing is when it sucks when a small business goes belly up, but that somebody is able to step in and keep cool models alive, like TT Combat has been doing with some of those spaceships games and Carnivali. There's some awesome that would otherwise just disappear.
Yeah, and the entire like what is it all the what was that Chronopia stuff that you can kind of still get through Scotia Grendel, and a lot of the like the Ralpatha stuff.
Yes.
So I think did that change hands a couple of times? Or
well, I'm not sure we should get into Ralpatha because that.
Sure, but like models that are like 40 years old.
Yeah.
And you can still get them. And people are still buying them because they're great sculpts.
Yeah, they are. There are some of the Chronopia stuff that gets up on auction that I would really like to get lucky on sometimes, but there are always people who are willing to pay more than I'm lucky. There's some cool models there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
so talking business, and you're working Ramshackle Games in the morning, and the green one or whatever it will be named in the end in
So
the evening.
Soul Forge is the
Soulforge,
casting
okay,
company.
Soulforge, yeah. So
Soul
two
Forge.
businesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes of you, I just checked it. You've been running what, like 10 successful Kickstarters. Uh,
Yeah.
I found the mini gangs one, but um, what what's your reason for choosing Kickstarter sometimes? I mean, you've been running a campaign. Was that for the jet bikes or the dwarf bikers that had a goal of £50?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
It's like,
The business side of Kickstarter is people just people buy more stuff off you. If you launch through Kickstarter, or I say launch, I mean if you fund it all through Kickstarter, you'll I'll take more earnings than if I say Facebook, because I think people search on, people find you, so it's a great way to get a range off the ground.
yeah,
I mean, £50 is like the cost of making the first set of molds,
yeah, because
or the first set of production molds.
you're able to do everything yourself. But I was just wondering because you've been selling you are selling cheap models, and say selling things on Kickstarter, often you'll sell things even cheaper. That's part of why people jump on Kickstarter to save a few.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
Kickstarter take like what, 10%? So there can't be a lot left.
yeah.
So I was just wondering what the reasoning was behind running
Just
Kickstarter campaigns
well,
once in a while.
like if you end up like getting, I mean, getting like 5% of a lot of money is better than 90% of not very much money.
Yeah,
See what I
gotcha.
mean?
Yeah, sure.
And it's a lot of hard work, but I like working hard, so it's not an issue. Just yeah, Kickstarter's great for publicity and a good way to get the cash in to just do it. I think the next Kickstarter I'm going to do is this some bikes. I've got the STLs made, and I've got to like pay for having them printed. So
Oh, those
it seems like,
new 20 millimeter bikes
yeah, I
or
mean it's
28?
toy car scale, isn't it?
Okay,
Which I
yeah,
think is 20,
yeah.
23 millimeters
All right,
is
yeah,
what I describe it as. But then scale, I can, there's a lot of
yeah. Gaslamp
there's a lot
scale,
I can
right?
talk about scale. Yeah, I mean, you buy like I mean, in my collection, well, my kids' toy collection of cars, they range in scale from, I mean, most of the military stuff is like true 20 mil, but Hot Wheels like
Yeah, but the
buggy
toy
or a mini,
scales are all over the place. Even
yeah,
buying just Hot Wheels or just Matchbox, they're still all over the place. But
yeah, all over the shop.
it'll look
Yeah.
good when you're standing and looking down on.
Yeah. Anyway, so
So
like, I mean, I think a big part of like model design is being able to kind of get it to look good at the right scale. Like a lot of people doing 3D sculpting that I see, you look at it and it looks amazing. The intricate detail, but then when you try and print that at 28, 30 mil, 25 mil tall, the detail that looks good when you're looking at it big on your monitor screen, you can't see it at that level, or you just paint over it.
yeah, that's
That it's kind of like, you don't want the detail the model with no detail, but you don't want it with too much detail. So it's really trying to get that look just right for sitting next to a toy car. I mean, like a bike. You think about like a motorbike. It's like as big as a person. I mean, they're not
and it
much bigger
looks
than.
yeah, we've been discussing that a bit here on the Discord because it's an interesting discussion. Like the
Yeah.
Modifius stuff. I mean, they're insanely detailed 3D prints that looks like they came straight out of Fallout. And there's a gazillion small details to paint. I wouldn't be able to do it anyways. I'll just go, yeah, everything in this build is brown, and then I wash. So for me, less is
Yeah,
more.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are people who buy these things to paint them, and they're like the next level god painters, And you look at it and you go, "Wow, they have painted every single detail of this intricate model." But
it looks so good.
I, I,
Well,
I think like the a big part of like gaming models is that kind of like got to get the compromise between too detailed and not enough detail. You know, hands, like big hands, big heads, but not too big and not, like doing these bikes. I mean, a bike's about as long as a person, but if you have a figure on a correct scale bike, it just looks silly. You have to bulk the bike right up. Like my bikes for Ramshackle Games, I would say they're probably like 40 mil scale bike, but when you put a 28 mil, Imperial Guard guy on it, he looks right, you know. Whereas you put him on a bike that's the right size, and it's like, bike's not the right size. So yeah,
Yeah, I have a
part
few,
of like, do not.
I have a
Sorry,
few of your
yeah.
bikes on my paint table now. The
Oh,
two dirt bike models you've made that comes with an entire dude on them.
oh
One is
yeah,
driving with the spear and another with a like a meat hook kind of
biker
cleaver.
and dag.
So yeah,
Yeah,
they're cool. Excellent models.
thanks.
Two more of those. Um, any plans for mini gangs? That was a successful Kickstarter. I love that little book. It's a great system. I've been playing it with
Yeah,
my
I mean,
son. So
we've got. I developed an entire range of vehicles because the next expansion is vehicles. Um, and then I spent months developing this whole range. I think I've sold like 5. So I just I've got all the
s-
artwork drawn for the photographs taken to lay out the book. I've got the rules pretty much finished. Just need like a last little tweak, and I just lost interest in it because he's like I didn't sell any, and I'm like, oh, nobody wants to buy my civilian vehicles. But I've been getting my mojo back. I think I need to do like a relaunch of mini gangs. I was going to do a bit of stuff before COVID kicked off with a group of friends. So yeah,
it's a
stay tuned. I
it's
mean,
a cool. Because it's a nice little system and it's different. The over under
yeah,
mechanic. Super simple, but
yeah,
it's I like it. It would be a good thing
yeah,
to
yeah. I
expand on.
mean, the idea is to do some like sort of videos and walkthroughs of the more because mini gangs is designed for people of different levels. You've got like the basic game is for people who've got no idea about wargaming, and I have actually the sorts of people that I've been playing that with has been really fun. The Ramshackle Games is in a building called 1 Thorsby Street, which is like subsidized like studio spaces for artists and crafters. So in the building, there's a woman who does ceramics. There's uh, carpenters. There's I think one of the studios is rented by the guy who does the lecturer for fine art at Nottingham University. So there's this big broad range of different people in the building, and every year we kind of like do an evening each to kind of show what we've been doing, right? And so when my one came last year, I'm like, let's just do I'll just do mini gang. So set up a really fun big board, and a couple of my gamer friends came down. But then we had like art students, people like journalists, uh, people who'd come for the art scene and weren't expecting to be playing war games. And I had them playing a war game. Like, here's the game, here's your little gang. And there was like what, 10 of us who've never played war games before. Well, plus the 3 who had, me and my 2 mates, in a game, which I don't know, I've never seen that before. Do you know what I mean? Just been able to play games like that. The thing with mini games is that there is this tactical depth to it. It's like I've tried to strip out all of the difficulty, but keep the idea of like, the classic in a game of like, do you hide behind scenery or do you advance? Your leaders have got a role. You've got things like morale.
Yeah. It works. It's simple, but it
Yeah.
works.
So that's the basic level, and then as a like somebody who just wants to take the game down the pub and play a quick game with their friends of an evening, you can you add in these like cards with all like equipment and stuff,
Yeah,
and then you just
items and skills and stuff like that.
yeah. So you just randomize them, and so you can have like a really quick game, but with kind of a bit more depth to it than just sort of the basic. But then there's this whole point system attached to it as well. And we've never, I mean, we've play tested it quite a lot to get it to the stage where it is, but we never actually did a campaign. So my idea is to do a campaign over the next few, well, I don't know, as soon as the restrictions are lifted, I think we're going to be having like a campaign where people kind of like just basically buy their gangs. And one of the gangs, well, I painted 2 of the gangs so far. One of them's like a crazy, like 35 model gang, insane amount of dudes, all like with no equipment. They're just going to be like a swarm of kind of, I don't know, zombies or mad crazy guys. And then the other gang is like, I don't know, Space Marines. I use those, do you know the EM4 plastic space rangers, I think they're called?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Do you know the one? With the clip-in, they've got kind of like the Space Crusade clip-on
Oh,
gun.
yeah, EM4, yeah, those guys, yeah, they're cheap.
And there's like,
kind of clunky looking dudes.
So I sawed them all up, cut their heads off, did head swaps with some Ramshackle Games heads. So I built this like little gang of like 5 super hard battle armored troopers that's going to have to go up against this gang of 35 people with no equipment. So yeah, we're going to play a little campaign of that. Try and get some other local people involved with it, and yeah, hopefully get some videos out of it, and certainly more kind of posts about it. Yeah, I want to kind of like keep going with mini gangs because it's such a fun game.
It's good fun. It would be
so easy.
Fun to add some vehicles. So why I've been following the release of these civilian vehicles. Why aren't they selling? I mean, they don't have guns, so you can't proxy them.
Yeah, I don't know. People seem I don't know. It's like I sell plenty of the tanks.
Yeah,
and even the vehicles.
The tanks have rules. You can stick those in 40k.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I just end up using my civilian vehicles set dressing anyway.
So they are
want to create a scene. I mean, like if you're in an urban battlefields always look a bit weird that they don't have loads of civilian vehicles on it. Because if I look out on the street now, I can see quite a lot of civilian vehicles.
But it's hard to compete on price. I mean, for £14 for a civilian vehicle or 10, I could get a lot of cars and trucks at a thrift store.
No, that is true. Yeah.
So that's probably part of the problem.
I mean, like that's the thing with doing what I want to do. Sometimes what I want to do isn't what everybody else wants to do. There you go. That's life. So, but yeah, I think like I mean, one of the ethos behind mini gangs as well is really just to get people playing. It's not about buying from Ramshackle Games. It's not like you have to have these models because only they'll fit in with the rules. It's more to just be like, come on, let's play a new game. I'm bored of playing.
Perfect mechanics for small games. I'm going to use mini gangs, and it got cancelled now due to COVID as well. But when you did the stuff for my Roman Risk, which was amazing. For the next.
Yeah, I still need to release them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not on the website. But I want to do a Viking game. And then use mini gangs rules to actually do some 28mm combat with the kits. So and just have there's the leader, and then there's the melee fighter and the shooter, and it would be so easy to adapt into Vikings.
Yeah.
Bows.
Like your Roman stuff, basically, like the problem with that is the weight of all the parts. Okay, to put all the parts in a kit is quite heavy, so postage is going to be a certain. So you've got to kind of like offer decent value for it. So we were basically trying to think up a game using just kind of like one of each and maybe a few of the kind of like soldier pieces. That is a game that you can play on a little table. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard coming up with like having the pieces and then going, how can I write a game for this? So yeah.
But we'll always just put them up. I mean, if people buy them, they buy them, and if they don't, they don't.
All the molds are made. It's all there. I just need to photograph it. Did you get any of yours painted?
Yeah, loads.
You
I
have to
painted up.
send me some good quality photos, and then
I
I'll be
see.
able to.
I have some. I painted up all. That was the worst. So for people listening in, I'm a school teacher, and I did a huge board game Risk. 2 by 2 meter board, and I painted up a lot of 1 to was like 76 or 72 Roman models, and I hate that plastic because the paint that just chipped off. So I'm not going to do that again. But Curtis made testudo formations and cast up some ships made by
It was
Admiralty
your friends made
Miniatures.
them, didn't
Yeah, yeah,
you? Yeah, they're
some
really nice
catapults.
ships as well.
But the testudos,
That
they
was
painted
another
up
thing. That
very
was another
nice.
thing as well. Trying to figure out how to do the sails on the boat. Didn't really figure out a decent way to do that. But now we've got this new casting. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's worth doing them in this decent stick. It's actually lighter weight as well. The polyurethane that we do in the green one with Soulforge stuff is actually lighter than the polyester resin that Ramshackle Games does. So I need to get those molds out and have a look at them again because they would be better gaming pieces as well in slightly tougher resin. And then we can get away with doing some really nice thin sails as well. So, yeah. Yeah. Maybe Bloodsby a Garage, we could all do a game to go with them.
You're never going to run out of projects to do.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There are, yeah, and it's like, one of the other things that really frustrates me as well is like, it's easier to draw the design of the model than it is to make the model. So I could run off a sketch of a model, but if I could just suddenly somehow make that 3D, that would be brilliant. But life just does not work,
That way.
fortunately.
No. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and I'll probably end up getting some
Thinking.
of those bikes for the new Kickstarter because I haven't really gotten that much into Gaslands yet, but I just love the scale and I have so many bits and bobs for it around.
Bikes are really good, actually. Bikes are really, really fun to play. There's this thing where the bikes are so cheap that you can turn up at like a game with too many bikes, and you're the guy in the group that just is taking ages to do his turn. That's not fun for anybody. But if you like, I mean, I'm like this with all games, but Gaslands is especially like this. That you're like, oh, I'll just buy this extra thing for 1 point and add it to my car. I'll just get this. And sooner or later, you add up the points on your car, and it's like, I'm well over budget. So it's really good fun for like, kind of designing these fun little teams. And the bikes can get like, you can kind of like exploit the rules a little bit with some of the gang to make this thing that just is really super fun to play. Everybody's like destroying your bikes, but they keep coming back again. And then everybody's got somebody to shoot. They're so easy to kill.
Yeah, they can't have a lot of armor.
Yeah,
So
and you can win with them as well. Like you can just sort of because they go so fast. They are like, yeah, very entertaining. It's a very entertaining game, and the community around it as well is really good because I've been finding that you can show up at a game of something like I don't know Warhammer, and people are like, oh, you moved your model like a quarter of an inch too far, or your Space Marine is holding a flamethrower instead of the plasma gun that you say, and there's a kind of can quite often be a bit of friction. But with the Gaslands, it's like the exact opposite. You're like, oh, I didn't get my car made, so I'm just gonna stick it down as it comes out of the box. Everybody's like, yeah, no problem.
yeah,
And then
those are
the other
the
players will have like
communities I'm seeking as well. That non-competitive, uh, chill
Gaslands.
scene.
Gaslands players tend to be like that.
And it's amazing
Yeah.
community on Facebook as well for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I think it's good having the writer, Mike. He's just really good guy. He's a really interesting guy. Really fun to talk to and really enthusiastic about the games. And yeah, I
perhaps
think
we
that
should
helps.
try getting him on here. I've covered all my
Mike Hutchinson.
questions.
Yes, definitely. Probably
So
be on it. Yeah.
So I think I'll thank you for joining us here. It was a very interesting talk. It was nice hearing your story of getting into the game and working in animation, and how not with a million guesses I would have been able to guess how Ramshackle Games got started. So that was great fun. uh,
Oh, it's been really fun talking about it.
so
Thanks for inviting me on. I really like.
anytime, and if after a successful launch of a Kickstarter or a new game, please will please come on again, and we'll
I
record
I
another
certainly will.
talk.
All right.
Uh,
Thank you.